I would argue, following Durkheim, that money is the religion of capitalist society. And I mean, Durkheim argued that the function of religion is to connect the known aspects of our life, our everyday life, the things that we understand quite well, with the larger forces affecting us that we don't know. And so for him, religion was a means of establishing meaningful connection between everyday life and the large unknown forces that govern society. And that more or less is my approach to money too. But in capitalist societies, we have created two spheres of economy which are of course interdependent. One of them is based on money and takes the form of the market, where people work for money. And the other is home, that is, where people live in some small-scale personal intimacy. And the two sides are connected as impersonal and personal spheres of social life. It's quite hard, in fact, for us to move constantly between the two. But this movement is made more feasible by the fact that money plays a distinctive role in domestic life as well as in our participation in the market. So money represents a bridge between the impersonal market sphere and the personal sphere of the home. Money unites, therefore, what it also divides. Money is both the source of our feeling of vulnerability in society and, I would argue, the means of our making society personally meaningful. The main property of money, I've come to feel, is that it is able to mediate our particular circumstances and our most inclusive, even universal associations. If you have some money, there's almost no limit to what you can do with it. But of course, as soon as you use it to buy something in particular, you close off that possibility in a very finite way. So to my mind, money's chief property is its ability to move fluently between an infinite range of possibilities and the finite meeting of our desires and obligations in everyday life. I've written at length in my book and elsewhere about how I consider the chief, the function of money to be remembering. Money is a way of keeping track of our networks of our participation in society in any number of ways. It is in that sense both a process of individual remembering and a process of collective remembering. Money is a store of collective memory. Indeed, the word money comes from the Latin goddess Moneta, who was the Roman goddess of memory. Money is also not simply an impersonal device, but it is a source of meaning. James Buchan has written a very nice book called Frozen Desire, in which he claims that money allows us to freeze for a moment our many possible desires into some transactional possibility of interacting with people capable of meeting it. Now, sociologists and anthropologists, I think, have made a commonplace of arguing that money, which is supposed to be impersonal, is in fact made personal and social by people in their everyday lives. I mean, within anthropology, Johnny Parry and Maurice Bloch's excellent collection, Money and the Morality of Exchange, makes this very clear for a range of non-capitalist societies. In sociology, Viviana Zelizer's The Social Meaning of Money is the locus classicus for the discussion of how people take something apparently impersonal and anonymous like the dollar and carve it up into personally meaningful and separate social uses. I mean, I think it's very important for anthropologists and sociologists to point this out, especially since the intellectual discipline of economics represents money simply as an abstract and impersonal force in society. We need to know that people have their own way of making money count in society for themselves. But I believe that anthropologists, sociologists should also take up the challenge of investigating those parts of wider abstraction, the more inclusive scale of economy that the economists have made their own. My aim, therefore, for economic anthropology is a pragmatic one. I want to help, through my analysis, for people to become more at home in their understanding of what they do with money and what money does to them. I would like an economic anthropology to address not just those levels of domestic intimacy and local association with which we're more familiar as ethnographers, but also the wider ranges of economic activity that also impinge on people's lives. From that point of view, I've looked at how money is created in a number of different settings. I've looked at I mean, I believe in some way that once we break out of the idea of national money, of national currency having a monopoly of our monetary relations to society, we will discover a world in which it's possible to develop as many kinds of money forms as there are levels of association from the local to the global. With that in mind, I've studied community currencies, alternative ways of making money by yourself, setting up independent trading circuits. But I've discovered that these efforts have been, I think, limited in their scope and generally have failed for a number of reasons, but principally because they've insisted on exchange taking the form of a closed local circuit, which to my mind denies half of what money is, which is its ability to bridge the local and the global. I've also been looking at the way that the internet has affected personal credit. I mean, one of the ways of describing the period we're in is that this is another phase of global commodity production where a single commodity, in this case the transfer of information, has been radically cheapened. And so we're living through the consequences of being able to transmit information cheaply. What this means, in other words, is that much of financial transactions that were previously impersonal, simply because it wasn't possible to communicate relevant personal information, are now made more personal. This is a huge topic that stands at the center of my work, but I can only allude to it here. I've also begun to investigate the explosion of derivatives markets. I mean, this was, the development of money futures was only took place in, it was invented in 1975. In 1975, 99.9% of all money traded internationally was used to buy goods and services internationally. Today, 99.9% of the money that's traded internationally is used to buy money in some other form. So we now live in a world where there is this vast production and circulation of money instruments which far dwarfs not just the budgets of national governments, but also international trade itself, never mind production. So this detachment of the money circuit from production and politics is very much something that I want to investigate.